Self-esteem issues in America are at an all-time high, and we don't even see it. Self-esteem is important, but too high of self-esteem or too low of self-esteem also can cause many issues. There is a false sense of the true meaning of self-esteem since the 1970s that was carried on into the decades today. Understanding of self-esteem and learning the true meaning of self-esteem may be the exact things Americans need to find true happiness. According to Jim Taylor in 2010 article, The Sad Misuse of Self-Esteem, he talks about how parenting today has given a false sense of true self-esteem in our children. With baseball games, sporting events, school events, all of those things, there's no longer a winner or a loser, but yet there's always a winner. Everyone's a winner. And this doesn't help with the self-esteem issues. If people don't ever learn to fail, how do they learn to build themselves back up to become truly confident and self-confident and be able to move on with themselves? We can't all be winners all of the time. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is the realistic respect for a favorable impression of oneself, as defined in the dictionary. Again, self-esteem, a realistic respect for a favorable impression of oneself. We have to find it within ourselves to find our true self-respect, to build our own self-esteem, to be confident and know that we are worthy of the things that we work towards. Hard work is part of self-esteem. Jim Taylor in 2010, as I said, stated that the misuse of self-esteem has carried over. In the mid-1960s, Morris Rosenberg defined self-esteem as a feeling of self-worth and developed Rosenberg's self-esteem scale, RSES, which became the most widely used scale to measure self-esteem in social science. Growing self-esteem. In 2010, self-esteem is known as the evaluated dimension of a self that includes feeling of worthiness, pride, and self-worth. But not everyone has a high self-esteem. This is something that has gone on for many years. People start to feel bad about themselves, have a lower self-esteem, and tend to use that as an excuse to not work, to not push themselves to achieve the things that they need in life, and to just overall have a bad feeling of themselves. Many Americans suffer from a low self-esteem, but it is something that can be treated with counseling, either professionally or spiritually, depending on one's belief. But overall, building a high self-esteem comes from self-worth, self-respect, and the knowledge of knowing that we have done our best and are trying to achieve our best. Sometimes, back in the 70s when self-esteem movement started, a bunch of the parenting experts said raising well-adjusted children is all about self-respect, high self-respect. This was found in The Power of Prime. And Mary Gooden in 2009 went on to discuss how this message of self-esteem had enormous negative impacts. As I discussed earlier in the speech, everyone is not always a loser. A winner. Sorry. Self-esteem comes from knowing that we have our own self-respect. We can't let the kids play ball with no scores kept. We can't let them do spelling challenges and correct them, but they still win. This doesn't teach someone how to gain their own self-respect, but rather to always expect someone to pump them up. We need to be able to find this within ourselves. Firstly, people with generally low self-esteem and poor self-image, low self-confidence, have an intensity to lump themselves together with bullies, narcissistic people, criminals, and child abusers. This was found in Uncommon Knowledge article that was written in 2010. Hundreds of pieces of reliable research now show that bullies and many criminals are much more likely to suffer from unrealistic high self-esteem, not low self-esteem. An impulse control problem of low self-esteem usually means depression, being a loner, and not working towards anything on their own. Self-esteem issues in America have become quite a problem. The media has played a big role in many of the self-esteem issues today, along with a complete misunderstanding of what self-esteem truly is. Mixed messages of the real self-esteem has carried many issues about self-esteem. Reality TV and other public forums have given many audiences a real unrealistic expectation or idea of self-worth or image that we should have. Low self-esteem often is blamed for bad behavior. In reality, the high or false sense of self-worth has been shown to be more at fault for these behaviors. Yes, we have self-esteem problems in our country, but we don't recognize it because we all have a self-esteem problem. This is found in The Power of Prime.